From Tobacco Republic in Loomis, California, the Loomis Cigar Cartel presents Beyond the Humidor, a cigar podcast for the rest of us. Hey, welcome back, everybody. We're pushing towards the 60th episode. I think right now we're at the point of 57.
56, 57, something
yeah,
like
56, 57, whichever one. Scott Robinson with you on our latest edition of Beyond the Humidor. Hardly got any sleep last night, but yeah, what are you going to do? It's my own bloody fault.
And he's not drinking either.
No, I'm doing this actually dry. I am not drinking scotch this morning. Not even coffee, just a cigar. So this should be fun.
All right, everybody give your St. Christopher medal a big rub and hope for the best.
How you doing, Larry?
I'm fantastic, man. How are you guys this morning?
I'm doing great. How about you, Greg?
It's a good morning. Looking forward to this show.
Oh, yeah. This is going to
Absolutely.
be a really good show. We've been trying to get this guest aboard for a long time now. It's been a long time coming. So expect to have a real good time with this episode.
Before you get into bringing in our
Oh,
guests
absolutely.
real fast,
Mhm.
just want to mention the cigars that we're smoking
Yes.
and give a shout out to Danny D's _ cigars on Instagram, because the cigar we picked is really inspired by him. He does a Fausto Friday instead of a Fuente Friday. So this is the Tatuaje Fausto. It is, the brief description is an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper. It is a Nicaraguan binder and filler. And for tasting notes, I suggest, since this is my second one that I've smoked, I think we'll come back around to that to the end of the show.
I want to make a comment about this cigar in particular. I originally was going to do this just right off the cuff dry, but I thought better of it. And I smoked one a couple of days ago. And then I looked at a review because, you know my view on reviews. I don't read the review first and then smoke. I want to smoke it and then see what the review has to say about it. And funny thing is that they're saying that this cigar isn't for the faint at heart. So, they're personified it as a strong cigar, but when I smoked it, I didn't consider it strong. I would put it up there as a medium. It was kind of a nice surprise.
Yeah, that's funny because I did the same thing. I smoked one yesterday, which was a little bit of a challenge, honestly. I got one that was a little tighter rolled. I think the draw was a little difficult. But yeah, I was surprised last night when I was looking it up, and it was they use some really bold language.
Yes.
It's heavy. It's extra peppery. It's bold. It's full. I'm like, yeah, I didn't get any of that. I mean, there's some pepper to it for sure, but this isn't a triple Maduro. We're not buckling the seatbelt to smoke this cigar. And I've been, even with the struggles I had with the one yesterday, I was very happy with the cigar as far as the flavor and everything else. So I'm looking forward to the second one. Seems to be starting out a whole lot better. So I'll let you know as we go along.
Well, yeah, I compare it. Remember when we were over at Half Moon Bay and we got the Partagas Black?
Mm-hmm.
And that one is one that socks you in the face. That's one after a full meal. And because I smoked it last night and I was like, oof. Yeah, that's a buckle up, Buttercup.
Yeah, that was and I started that before dinner. And I was like, maybe that wasn't the best idea, but yeah, it's been a long time since I'd had a Partagas Black, so that was a neat one. And the other one we picked up over there was the Cohiba Blue Label. And,
That's a great stick.
Yeah.
And
That one we found in Denver.
yeah, and it's funny, man, when you don't see something in your local brick and mortar, or you don't have them in your humidor, front and center anymore, you forget. And we were walking around this little place and I'm like, whoa, Blue Label. Oh, let's get one of these, And so I don't know. It's neat to get out and see different, brick and mortar places or different events where, even if it's something you've tried before, you haven't seen it in a while. It's like, I'm getting one of these.
Yeah. And I did not push the dog stroller in Half Moon Bay.
Yeah, kind of disappointed about that. I was waiting to ambush you on this video with that.
Although I have an adorable picture of Larry holding Harley. It's just downright adorable.
It's a puppy, man. Give me a break here.
Well, yeah, of course. Well, before we get too much into the woods, I want to introduce our guest. It's from the Premium Cigar Association. The organization actually started out in 1933, and it was known as the Retail Tobacco Dealers of America, and they've graduated to the name PCA. And guys, this is a really important organization for us as cigar smokers. They provide education, advocacy. They support real retailers. So I want to bring our guest aboard. He is the associate director over at PCA. So it'd be my pleasure to introduce Josh.
Here we go.
Habursky. I got it.
He's got it right. He got it
Yeah,
right.
we got it right.
We got a
A
winner.
little bit of a stutter step, but I was good. Josh, how you doing?
Doing well. Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
Good morning. Welcome.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. So I, as of 2 weeks ago, became the deputy executive director for the Premium Cigar Association. I've been with the organization for about 3 years now. Started out as our head of federal government affairs, then overall government affairs, and I'm still the chief lobbyist for the organization. So I fight for predominantly the brick and mortar retailers, but also our associate member manufacturers and consumers before the halls of Congress, the White House, and with the Food and Drug Administration.
Very well. Before we get too much into that, let me ask you a question. How long have you been smoking cigars?
So the age of purchase was 18 when I started. So it was when I was 18, which was 12 years ago. So I've been smoking avidly for 12 years.
Oh, wow. Nice. Do you remember your first cigar? What it was?
It was. So I was in college. My political science professor, who's my mentor, was a big cigar enthusiast. And I actually wanted to be a political science professor. He mentored me, and we always would meet every Friday, the Winston Churchill Society, to talk about politics and smoke cigars. And I think my first one was actually a mint Java, which, you know, it pains me to say that now because I don't smoke any flavored cigars at all. Like if I get them for free, I'm kind of like, thanks, but you know, I'll give this as a gift to somebody else. But you know, it was where I got my start, so I'm always very candid about that. But now I really smoke a lot of Padrones and Plasencias, and also the Ace Prime family of cigars and Crown Heads. I know that we'll talk about it a little bit later, but I produced my own cigar from Nicaragua last year, and am working on 2 others at the moment.
That's awesome.
Very nice. Very nice.
The mint Java, one step up from the grape Swisher.
I know it's funny, and I always say it's one where it gives people a lot of folks will have their start with that, and then kind of move up to milder, non-flavored cigars. But you know, I also am a partner at a retail shop in Quantico, Virginia. And I have a lot of folks that come in and ask, what should we try? We don't smoke cigars. And I always keep saying, try the Perdomo champagne, because it's not flavored, but it's very easy. It's very smooth. And I wish I could go back 12 years ago when I first started smoking cigars and, you know, have that one, because I'm asked this question a lot. And I feel a little bit embarrassed, but there's truth to the story. And I graduated to premium cigars, non-flavored cigars over the course of being a part of that Winston Churchill Society. Especially, we had a class with the same professor. It was known as the Booze Cruise, because you would have 3 weeks in the classroom and then 1 week on a actual cruise ship. And I learned the art of drinking tequila and smoking cigars properly during that trip, in addition to Mexican and Caribbean politics.
There's a proper way to drink tequila?
Just copious amounts of it, one after the next.
Yeah, without throwing up. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a skill.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned the Java Mint, Josh. My first experience was actually in this shop, and it was a mojito rum flavored cigar from, I can't even remember the brand anymore, but you know, we in California don't have flavored anymore. So, but yeah, I've been there. I've done that.
But and it's one of those things where, you know, I think that a lot of folks in tobacconists are like, they don't want someone to get sick. They don't want someone to feel too harsh, and that's kind of the default one. You know, anything in that the Java line or the acid line, and some people that are seasoned enthusiasts smoke that. I mean, it's always about personal preference. But I know that when I'm working in my shop now, I'm trying to get folks to try the, like I said, Perdomo champagne, and there's a Rocky Patel that we carry that you know is non-flavored, that we kind of push to folks that come in and say, hey, I only smoke one a year, let me give something a try, or even your basic non-Cuban cohibas.
Yeah, that's true.
Camacho has a couple of lighter cigars. They're Connecticut. I've steered, you know, somebody like you said, Josh, that doesn't smoke very often or has smoked cigarettes and wants to try a cigar. Yeah, you're not handing them a chisel for their first cigar, you know.
Yeah.
Although I've seen a couple.
Depends on, do I like this person?
Well,
or not?
yeah, you've seen a couple people do that, but you know, yeah, new cigar smokers or occasional cigar smokers, if they ask, I will try to steer them to something that is a, you know, a little milder to get them going.
I usually would steer folks over to the Grand Habano, Connecticut.
That's
And
a good one too.
that's a really mellow cigar. It's really non-intimidating. It's not going to make you sick. It's you know, it's a one-trick pony when it comes to flavor, which is good when you're just starting out, because you don't want to just bombard someone with flavor and make them sick.
Yeah, and you know, I now have gravitated a lot towards you know, Nicaraguan specifically, any Nicaraguan cigar. I you know, I would say of the 5 or 6 that I have a day at this point, I will have you know, 90% of those are definitely going to be from Nicaragua, and I really like the dark, earthier cigars the best, and that's why like the Plasencia Almafuerte,
Oh yeah.
or you know, or the even the Tatuaje. I know that you guys are having the Fausto now, but the Frankenstein, like that packs a punch. That is and I smoke very quickly, so I almost have the Churchill size cigar is kind of a bare minimum at this point. I don't really smoke too many small cigars unless it's that first one in the morning with an espresso.
Right. Have you had anything from the Illusion line?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I like all the Illusion cigars. I know that Dion does a really good job, and they had, we went to an event and they had a booth recently in October in the Dominican Republic, and tried some of their new stuff, and that was great. And getting ready to go back actually next week to the Dominican Republic for Pro Cigar, and it's a part work, part vacation, but I'm hoping to get more of an appreciation, a personal appreciation, to try the diversity of the Dominican cigars, so that I can kind of refine my palate. Like, I'm so Nicaraguan centric now. I definitely want to get more into Honduran and Dominican cigars. So I'm really looking forward to the festival next week.
Yeah, you know what? I've been smoking for about 25 years, and I'm a lover of the Nicaraguan leaf, and Illusion, the Pre-Sandinista, and Nicaraguan leaf. Oh, I mean, it's just incredible. I could smoke all Nicaraguan all the time. I love Dion's stuff. And the beauty is he's just over the hill over in Reno. We're like, you know,
2 hours.
Yeah, a couple hours.
A couple hours from here.
Josh, I think you're gonna once you get yourself immersed in some of that Dominican stuff, I think you're gonna find some, you know, once again, just some amazing cigars that will rival the stuff you're smoking now. And it's just it's a different flavor for sure.
Yeah.
but
I love
Honduran are doing great jobs with some of the products we've been seeing and smoking.
Absolutely. And I love the Andalusian Bull. I'm going to the LFD factory for a tour, and also the EP Carrillo factory for a tour during this trip. And I'm hoping I can get a hold of some of those Andalusian Bulls, because I would say that they're one of my top 5 Dominican cigars that I smoke, but they're kind of hard to get a hold of.
Oh yeah, I've got about 3/4 of a box in my humidor. So yeah,
Hey,
I've been smoking them sparingly.
I know where there's 3 or 4 boxes when you make your way out to California, Josh.
Yeah. Hey, we we were talking. Scott and I did a call a week ago, and we'd love to have you guys at the PCA trade show in Vegas. We know it's not too far of a trip, and I think that at post trade show, I'm planning on visiting a few different retailers in California. So
Outstanding.
kind of piggyback off the trips. We try and do about 100 retail visits a year within the government affairs department. And it's really helpful because we can kind of ask people, what are the pain points? What's going on in your state, your locality? And of course, in California, they are a very difficult anti-tobacco state. And a lot of times, the premium cigar category, much like federally and in other states, gets encompassed in vaping legislation or non-premium cigar legislation or cigarette legislation. And that's something that we've had to battle in the past. And we're really focusing on our states this go around through a new strategic plan. We hired Glenn Loop, who is the executive director of Cigar Rights of America, to run our state affairs. So we have a lot of momentum right now in building new tools and going on the offensive. I think that for far too long it was, let's respond to what the regulators and the legislators are doing. And I'm trying to flip it around, and hopefully it works, and basically talk about the positive things of the premium cigar industry, the small businesses, the employment that is in Honduras, the Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, and the quality of life that it brings to those areas, and also the 30,000 plus retail jobs and 120,000 connected jobs here in the United States. And every time that I go and visit one of these cigar shops, it's collecting intel, feedback, some positive, some negative, but it also reinvigorates our team to do what we do and try and fight back some of these burdensome and erroneous regulations.
So, Josh, I got a question for you. Have you noticed with the growth of the legalized cannabis industry from state to state, has there been a noticeable positive or negative effect on premium cigars?
Yeah, it's kind of been a flat line, to tell you the truth. A lot of the opponents of tobacco are actually the proponents of cannabis. So it seems a little bit paradoxical. It doesn't, make sense from my standpoint. But we've had to spend the last, I would say, 6, 7 months educating federal lawmakers about what was called the Tobacco Tax Equity Act. This was a bill that would raise the tax on premium cigars and pipe tobacco. Premium cigars 1,000%, pipe tobacco 1,600%. And in real terms, you're talking about $3 more a stick, $100 more a box in federal taxes. And this was something that was inserted into the Build Back Better agenda, and we were able to pull this out for a variety of different reasons. I think number one, this bill, the Tobacco Tax Equity Act, was introduced 2 previous times as a way to reduce consumption of tobacco products. And what the bill did was it took the cigarette tax, doubled it, and then made every other tobacco category the same price threshold. And we were
Right.
telling folks, how can you have it both ways? You're saying in the beginning that this is going to reduce consumption, but your math shows that you're going to raise revenue. You're trying to raise $96 billion to pay for, President Biden's agenda. And ultimately, House Democrats as well as Senate Democrats said, no, you're right, this doesn't make sense. And they pulled it out of the House version because it wasn't going to raise revenue and it was going to cause significant issues. The trade minister for the Dominican Republic, we hosted an international policy summit, and he got on and gave a speech saying, if this goes through, the DR will lose 40,000 jobs and $600 million year one. And
Wow.
so this was a big dogfight, and we're still going around and doing congressional meetings. I did 2 this week, making sure that this doesn't come back because it is a 3-headed monster.
If you'd have told me 20 years ago that it'd be easier to buy weed today than it is cigars, I'd have called you a liar to your face.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just.
Well, it's funny because that exact issue does come up, especially here in California, Josh. One of the places that we all like to go visit, you can't smoke a cigarette or a cigar in county parks and things like that, but weed is perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
And one of the things, I don't know if you're familiar or not with tobacco-free California.
Yes.
Yeah, and some of the areas of attack they've taken on is basically trying to empower renters to go to their landlords. They'll actually send them a packet of how to go to their landlord and encourage them to be a tobacco-free apartment or whatever the case may be. Was living in a townhouse over in the city of Rockland, and they actually said you can't smoke in your house or on your patio, or on the grounds rather. And I was like, I'm gonna smoke on my patio, and I dare you to say something about it because I'm paying rent here. I'm not bothering anybody. I'm in my own little section, and you've got all sorts of wild stuff. Walnut Creek, California. In the city of Walnut Creek, you are not allowed to go walking along the city, smoking anything. Well, except for, of course, marijuana.
Yeah. And you bring up a good point about the, apartment complexes and how it's got so granular. At the federal level, we're able, as a small trade association, we're able to fight back with our industry allies and partners. At the state level, we had considerable success. Last year, and the phrasing of this is crucial. There were no new bills, no new pieces of legislation that passed in all 50 states and federally to increase taxes on tobacco, which is a shock given the pandemic year. We know that the budgeting of some states, including California, there was adjustments to those taxes that are within the state constitutions. But given all of that, we were very effective at the federal and state level. So you saw the introduction of a lot of bills to give local authority. So cities and towns can make their own decisions about tobacco regulation because these issue advocacy groups that have literally billions of dollars internationally will come in and fight these campaigns, give grants to these groups that will go after, the private sector. So, we're fighting anti-tobacco forces, anti-premium cigar forces at the local, state, federal, international, and private sector at this point. We've got a lot of ongoing issues right now with everything from social media to insurance companies to payment processing to texting tools with our retailers, where these private companies are restricting their abilities to do business. It's not even coming from any government entity. The individual companies are saying, well, we don't want to advertise tobacco. And this is to legal adults. Premium cigars, like tobacco products, are legal adult products. and they're being infringed upon and restricted in many ways.
Yeah, on the podcast, every now and then I make the joke when they do restrictive legislation on cigars, and you'll hear this argument about children and tobacco. It's like I have yet to see an 8-year-old with a lunch break on his way to on his or her way to class. So I don't think that's the problem. It's more of a revenue grab, as you said.
No, for sure. That's what they're trying. They're trying to raise money. First time I see an 8-year-old step up to the plate at Little League, and he's got a stick in his mouth, and it's a different story. But right now it's just it seems like they push forward some of this agenda just to have something to talk about, and that's getting ridiculous.
And a lot of these regulators and legislators, they're concerned about the effects of public health, but the data and the government studies support premium cigars. The average consumer has less than 2 cigars a month. That's across the board.
Does that mean we're all really above average?
Yeah, I obviously there's that 1% of
Josh.
the 1%. I think we're all in that category. But so it isn't an addiction for people. People are not going outside when it's 20 degrees to get their fix of premium cigars. A lot of us enjoy it in the camaraderie. Yes, we will have more than that too. There is a group of enthusiast aficionados that I do it, and I smoke cigars when I'm around other people, when I'm around friends, when I want to have discussions about tough topics like politics. But the other areas that the public health officials are concerned with are what are the overall population health ramifications from smoking premium cigars, and that PATH study, which I encourage people to look at. We have on our website a one-pager that explains it on cigaraction.org. But this study says that if you are your average cigar enthusiast, you have no distinct differences between a non-smoker. So when you look at those, the third area of public health is, of course, as you referenced, that youth access. Are companies, are retailers trying to market to youth? And is debunked completely. In 2020, the FDA said that we're the lowest enforcement priority because of a lack of a youth of appeal. And the average person has their first premium cigar at the age of 30 years old. So that's the data, and that's not industry data. That is government-backed research.
Okay. And as far as challenges, what do you think the biggest challenge is specifically in the industry right now?
I think that we have a lot of stuff that's coming at us from the regulatory front with the Food and Drug Administration, and it's a little bit removed from the political process. When legislation is introduced, whether it's at the state or the federal government or the federal government, we can go around and meet with legislators. We can mobilize constituents. We can tell our story of the small business impact of premium cigars. But on the regulatory front, you have a Food and Drug Administration that are career bureaucrats that set forth this policy. We were talking about the flavor discussion earlier. One of the regulations that's going to be put forth this year is a federal flavor ban. And, we're not just talking about your acids, your Javas, your, infused cigars, but it's this term characterizing flavor. And our concern is how broad and general is the FDA going to go? If it's a premium cigar but has a sweet tip, or it's infused in bourbon barrels, does that encompass it? What if you as Beyond the Humidor or Cigar Aficionado or one of the great other media publications out there gives a review and says this has hints of cocoa or chocolate or peanut butter or what have you. There's no actual flavoring in it, but someone is describing it as characterizing flavors. So how far are they going to go with that? That's on our radar. There's a big study coming out in April also on the health effects and usage of premium cigars by the National Academies of Sciences. I presented to that panel, Drew Newman from the J.C. Newman Company, and a few other stakeholders. But there was a litany of other anti-tobacco groups that came out and said from the get-go, premium cigars don't exist. That it's something that's a term that was created by the industry. So, there was a lot of craziness in that panel. So what are the findings of this study going to be? That keeps me up at night. And then just kind of the overall, looking at the industry at large, when we're in the midst of a fight, it kind of brings people together. So it's always good to have something going on. But when there isn't that fight, sometimes everyone breaks apart and kind of does their own thing, and you don't really know what all of the groups and companies are doing. And that unity is important. Enthusiasts, consumers, manufacturers, retailers, everybody working together. And that's why, I always look forward to the PCA trade show to get to see our manufacturing partners, being the representative for retailers. It's important to see where that connection is so that we can educate folks about everything that's going on within the premium cigar industry.
Yeah, okay, you just mentioned something real scary. As reviewers speak on cigars, and even just regular schmoes like us, as we personify a particular stick with hints or flavors of this or that, and the thought that that could be regulated is scary.
Oh, absolutely. And fortunately, we're protected by the First Amendment, but that's where the anti-tobacco movement is going. I mean, it's a very organized, well-funded movement that their tools and tactics to go after all of tobacco. There's no real decorum in what they're doing. I mean, if you are a cigar smoker, there's discrimination going on. If you go to get a job, a lot of these groups are telling people don't hire people that use tobacco products, or don't give them insurance. That's where they're at right now, and that is a very precarious situation where how do you fight back against all of that? I mean, there's this one report as it relates to state lobbying that came out, and they basically, it was one of these anti-tobacco groups that said any lobbyist that works at the state level, because of involvement with the tobacco industry, they are either known racketeers or associated with racketeers. And I'm like, how does that follow? Like,
that's a bold statement right there.
Yeah.
So, Josh, listening to you talk about this on the flavoring and stuff, depending on how far they wanted to lean, I mean, they could potentially wipe out the pipe tobacco industry almost altogether.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that was just my first thought when you were talking about that. Now in California, they've pretty much killed off we've killed off the flavored cigars here altogether.
It actually becomes official in November.
Okay.
The grace period's running out.
But I mean, depending on how far they want to take those steps, the average smoker, I don't think even has an inkling as to just how profound this could be.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. And you're right. Pipe tobacco, that tax was going to be 1,600% that I mentioned. That would have killed pipe tobacco outright. And then, you have this movement, and it is tough. It is a small but mighty sector that we represent. And because they are flavored products, and they're actually, when you blend them together in shop, the FDA and some of the regulators have wanted to say that blending of those within the shop is actually manufacturing. So they're trying to tell retailers, you got to get a manufacturer's license in order to do that. So as it relates to pipe tobacco, because it's a flavored product, we have much more to worry about than non-flavored premium cigars.
Yeah. Now, Josh, we market our podcast typically goes out to the consumer. What are some of the things that the consumer can do at their local level to help what you guys are doing?
Absolutely. So, any consumer can sign up on cigaraction.org to receive our email alerts. And basically, it will ask you for your information. And if something that pops up in California that is restricting your rights to enjoy cigars or would hurt premium cigar retailers, we'll send that out. Also federally, we also partner with Cigar Rights of America. We encourage people to join CRA. But
absolutely.
With the PCA, you can sign up on that email address. And we had our most active campaign, having over 30,000 consumers fight back against that big tax increase that I talked about earlier. So we need to grow our numbers because these anti-tobacco groups that they're connected to a lot of organizations that have good causes, do good work, but they have this advocacy arm that's out of control. For instance, the American Heart Association, the American Cancer Society. We always kind of joke the body parts lobby. They have good research missions and are doing charitable work, but then they have these advocacy arms that are much more aggressive. They won't sit at the table and have a conversation that these products are different, that the path data that I described to you before, they don't want to hear that conversation. So that makes our efforts even more difficult when you have PCA, CRA, the NATO, the National Association of Tobacco Outlets, and Cigar Association America, these four groups pushing for something, and then you have 40 or 50 of these public health groups that have millions and millions of dollars fighting against something. We have a tall order stacking up against that.
Yeah, without a doubt. That's crazy.
How did we not come up with the term NATO for cigars? That's the best name ever right there. Who are you with, NATO? Holy shit.
Oh, wow. That's go. I think we were speaking on our phone call last week about Vision 50. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Vision 50 is our strategic plan. We just made the announcement and released our preamble on premiumcigars.org. That's the main association website. Cigaraction.org is our government affairs website. And in the preamble, we talk about a lot of the positive things that we want to achieve over the next 10 years. I felt, and Scott Pierce, our executive director, along with our board of directors, felt that everything, if you have the conversation in this first block of our discussion, you might be worried as a premium cigar consumer, retailer, manufacturer, if you have a vested stake in this. It's scary. These are tough discussions because a lot is at stake. But we wanted to have a conversation and highlight things that we can do to foster growth within the industry, to promote the positive attributes of premium cigars. So we're going to go and in over a 3-month period, do a fact-finding mission, surveys, focus groups, media interviews like this, as well as retail visits, to kind of find out from the cross-section of the industry what our priorities should be to advance premium cigars. So things that we're going to always do are fight back against smoking bans and taxes, but what can we do to make things easier for consumers, retailers, and manufacturers? Things like, having a cigar bar ordinance where you can enjoy an adult beverage with a premium cigar together. That's an example of initiatives that we're going to look into so that our retailers can become better businesses, so that they can grow, sustain, and thrive.
God bless you, sir.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it seems common sense. And then the second part to Vision 50 is some self-regulation, kind of as the association, as the premium cigar um, association and the representative that sits across the table from the FDA and the anti-tobacco groups. What can we do to make sure that our industry is doing correct things, across the board, so that we can maintain that lowest enforcement priority? And then, as an example of that, we recently came out with our marketing statement, responsible marketing statement, and basically said, hey, we don't want to stifle creativity. There's a lot of great products that are coming out because of the lawsuits that we were able to win and the achievements that we made, as an industry. But you might want to be mindful of a few things. Again, we don't see people on the playground smoking premium cigars,
There we go.
and it is marketed towards an adult audience, but it is something that you definitely want to be cognizant of, even in creating your packaging and your bands and your brand. We don't want to see cartoon characters or things like that that may appeal to youth, even if they're in that adult audience, because
Right.
that's going to be used for fodder against us, in the future. And that's what the FDA is really concerned about. We released this statement, and I know that it was a success because people have been talking about it for 2 weeks since the release, and no one was happy. People said we didn't go far enough. People
Yeah.
said that why is PCA doing this? So it started a conversation, and it's one that we hope to continue to have. But we think that we need to make proactive announcements, reminders, and take action so that we're not at the behest of the FDA and these anti-tobacco groups.
Gotcha.
Josh, question for you. You said earlier that you're part owner of a retail location. How many others in PCA, at the executive level, are also, directly involved in the cigar industry from a retail perspective?
So, our entire board of directors, with the exception of three, are with that. So we have, 15 retail board members, and then soon to be five manufacturing board members. We all have a very small staff of 6 people. I am the only one with the retail background, and that started as of 7 months ago. I wanted to go in front of these legislators and regulators and tell them firsthand the trials and tribulations that I have to deal with. I'm fortunate to be, a part owner. There's 6 other partners, but we are located in Quantico, Virginia, right by the Marine Corps base. So it gives me a lot of pride to do cigar events and have a facility where a lot of our service people can improve cigar. I think that has allowed me to give better representation as the chief lobbyist for the industry.
Yeah, that's where I was
Having
going with that is, you having the boots on the ground, retail experience in this venue, in this industry, I would think would be just, amazing, to be able to provide that knowledge and experience, as you're lobbying moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I was behind the counter cleaning tables and ashtrays last night. So it's
There you go.
it's one you gotta, with the staffing shortages, that's another issue that the retail sector is seeing across the board, and we're not immune to it. So that's been a really good experience for me for the past 7 months. And I started, and it's weird, like in last January over COVID. A lot of things, of course, shut down, and I wanted to use the time to kind of better myself as a professional. And I took the cigar sommelier certificate course at Tobacconist University. I visited Nicaragua for 10 days and manufactured a cigar with Ace Prime Luciano from the Pichardo factory, Ace Prime, and then got involved with the lounge. So I can say that I paid the excise tax as somebody that's importing cigars as a manufacturer, and I paid the OTP sales tax. When I go and lobby in front of the senators and House of Representatives in Virginia, I come in as a constituent retailer, also, as a professional lobbyist.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's some good work.
So, how does one procure one of your cigars, sir?
Oh, I told Scott, I gotta get, I think I got his address. I will send you some. We are getting ready to launch. This is a funny story. So Luciano, he and I were talking. He's been very active on our advisory board, and somebody who took me under his wing to teach about, cigar manufacturing, from farms to factories to fields. We went all over Nicaragua for 10 days. And I said, and I had told him previously, I want to have a cigar. I want to, do something that can be like my business card. And we ended up producing this, and I ordered 2,200 to basically give out to friends, family within the industry, as well as policymakers, so that I could tell them, all right, this is what a premium cigar actually is. And we called it El Politico after the lobbying background. And I gave him 3 cigars that I enjoyed the most. And we worked on that blend. He produced something, and then when I was there in Nicaragua, I changed the size of it. I wanted to do a Churchill size so that it would be presentation worthy. And he finalized the order at the PCA trade show last year. So I get to Las Vegas, and I'm doing all the work as part of the association, and I have these 2 massive boxes filled with 2,200 cigars. And then I go to Casa Fuente in Vegas, which is a fantastic cigar bar.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is.
And I went into the humidor. I bought one of their sharks, the Fuente shark, because you never go in there and smoke one of your own cigars unless you support the business. So the shark was going to be the number 2 cigar, but I lit up an El Politico, and the guy next to me said, "What is that? It smells really good." And I'm like, "It's my own cigar. It says presented by Joshua Habursky on the band. It's called El Politico." And I gave him one, and it was Chris from Luxury Cigar Club, and he immediately ordered 3,000 of them. And from there on, we're taking them to market now, and we're going to raise money for our legal advocacy fund for the PCA. So whenever anyone buys an El Politico cigar, including the 3,000 that I'm sending to Chris in March, 50 cents are going back to the association. And then in April, our board of directors, it will be on our product hub. So anyone that's a PCA member can go and order them to have in their brick and mortar lounges. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it
kind
is.
of a cool marketing way. And then it still has my name on it. So I'm just very happy to be a part of the process.
Well, yeah, that's living a dream right there with your own cigar line. We actually did an episode on So You Want Your Own Cigar Line. We were talking about some of the pratfalls with trying to establish a cigar line.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's great to see someone out there doing that, and we're still kind of entertaining it.
The company squirrel.
Yeah.
Entertaining it. Oy.
There's no greater feeling than seeing someone enjoy your cigar. I rarely smoke them anymore because I want to just give them out to people, friends, and hey, try this. Oh, you're a cigar enthusiast. And then when they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is really good." I never forget when I was at the trade show. I walked up to Pete Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I walked up to Rocky Patel. I walked up to George Padron and gave him my cigar, and Michael Herklotz. All of these big names, and I'm like, here, it's a jersey swap, or when they wouldn't give me one, I would just give it to them, and they were like, "You're giving us a cigar," and I'm like, "Oh, I hope they like this. I hope they like this," and we kind of tested it because knowing that this was going to be used for people within the industry and policymakers, we made a cigar that it's strong because I that's the flavor profile that I enjoy, but it's not overpowering. And if you only have one cigar a year, it's not going to make you sick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that'd be a hell of a feeling watching Rocky Patel dig through his briefcase with 30 cigars in it to find that Josh cigar, because he wanted to smoke another one of those.
Hey, and Alec Bradley, so Alan and Alec Rubin, who are some of my other favorite people in the industry. Alec has asked me for more of those cigars, and he and I are going to be collaborating on another project later this year, very small batch project, but he was impressed. And when I was able to get someone of that caliber, somebody that I respect, that, when I was first starting out in just as an enthusiast in the cigar world, Alec Bradley has always been one of my top brands. I got in my apartment 2 Rabbit Airs, Alec Bradley. I got the Alec Bradley swag. So I told Alan this. I'm like, when I first started doing this, it was kind of like I am getting to work and interact with my heroes. So I got to stop being a fanboy. And in the beginning, I was a fanboy. And I remember that George Padron, Rocky, and Alan Rubin were coming to my office, and we had a meeting with a few policymakers, and it was just those 3. I was the only PCA staff that was part of it, only lobbyist there. And that was like a dream come true. And then after that, I fight with everybody now and have to give our perspective. And then when somebody irritates you, inevitably it will happen, because you're talking about difficult issues and situations that affect the industry or affect a lot of people. Sure. I will still smoke their cigars, but if they irritate me, I will give a 3-month ban or a 3-day ban where I won't smoke any of their cigars. But it's kind of funny to see it come full circle, where now their peers working together to fight the fight and defend cigar freedom, rather than me looking at them in cigar aficionado.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Now, since you've been smoking for now, what, 12 years, you say?
Yes.
Have you noticed the growth of the boutique cigar industry? I mean, how just brands have just blown up. I mean, it's great for us.
Absolutely. And when I go to a cigar lounge, I will buy 3 cigars, typically, a house blend. And this is the secret sauce. A lot of the retailers will work with a major factory and get cigars that didn't necessarily make the cut for whatever rhyme or reason, to be a label under that factory. And they are fantastic cigars for a fraction of the price. So I always get that. And then I will always try something new. Again, I'm in that age demographic, that new and rare, that's what you want to have. So that's the second one. And then always a tried and true. Like, I'm always going to buy a Plasencia, Padron, Tatuaje, something that I consistently, when I buy it, I'm not going to be disappointed. But buying those 3 cigars, you kind of get a flavor for what's out there.
Absolutely.
I like that. He's got a system.
Mm-hmm. We might have to adopt that system. We're stealing that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, thanks for being discreet, Greg.
He's done this long enough. There's no discretion. There's no discretion in this business.
Wow.
Oh, fun stuff. So, here on Beyond the Humidor, we talk cigars, but we also talk about life and some of the funny crap that happens to us.
Here we go.
Okay, so I'm going to share, okay? It's sharing time. So Lawrence and I and our wives, we go to Half Moon Bay last week on a RV trip, and they give me crap and call my RV bougie.
It is bougie, for Christ's sake.
It's only a 25-foot Class C.
With what you paid for your rig, Larry, myself, and Anthony over there, our camera guy, could all buy a brand new rig. Bougie screwball.
So I got a new dog. We lost our Pomeranian Chihuahua in January. Wife was dead set on getting another dog because it was too quiet in the house. We've solved that problem. So I've got a miniature Australian Shepherd, Harley.
4 months old.
Yeah.
Cute damn thing. Irritating as shit, but it's cute as hell, you know.
So we were originally going to have some friends dog sit for us or puppy sit, but they have 2 Frenchies and they had all sorts of other stuff going on. So we were like, well, actually not we, she. Tiny wife tells me, well, maybe we should take puppy with us. And I'm like, oh, okay. But she hasn't had all of her immunizations, so don't want to expose her too much and don't want her walking around barefoot too much. So she opts to get a dog stroller. Yeah.
Now, mind you, Scott is what, 6'5"?
There you go.
And his wife is 3'5", and
you know she's gonna kill you.
No, she's 5'2",
5'2". Well, 5'1",
5'1" and 7/16. And so the two of them standing next to each other is funny enough, but in the age demographic that we are, seeing them with a stroller, the first thing is, what's going on here?
Taking a grandkid for a spin?
Grandma and grandpa watching the baby, and then it barks, and people are like, well, you know, we were in the Bay Area portion of this state, so that wasn't as odd. You know, you got people dressing their dogs up in tutus and crap, but so that wasn't as odd. But yeah, it's as the second couple, the tag along couple, I would just kind of grab a hold of my wife's wrist and slow her down a little bit. It's like, hey, you let the folks with a dog stroller get a little bit ahead of us, baby.
Oh no, I let the dog stroller and tiny wife go ahead of me just slightly. Because I told her I won't be seen with this. I will not be pushing it. It's on you, by all means. The whole joke of the matter is these two have been plotting to get a dog stroller for my previous dog, because it was a little Pomeranian Chihuahua, like 10 pounds.
Yeah, so the moral of this story is we were no cash out of pocket, Greg and I.
No.
Scott's wife did this 100% on her own. So, you know.
You guys are going to have to get a photo of Scott by the dog stroller, smoking a cigar, and put it up in the lounge over there. That would be the the thing to do.
Josh, you fit right in with that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Once again, God bless you, sir.
Well, I was texting Larry's wife while they were gone, going, "Hey, I don't care how you do it. Get a photo and a video of him using the dog stroller so I can put it up on our website."
And I knew that's why I went nowhere near. Well, I went near the dog stroller, but I did not put my hand on the bar to push. I was like, I know
I
better.
saw you rocking it a little bit to quiet the little feller down a couple of times. You know, you can say
girl, not fella.
Whatever.
We keep misgendering this poor dog.
Yeah, the dog's gonna have gender identification issues by the time it's a year old, but. You know, you get a couple of beers or a margarita in, you're rocking that stroller. I don't want to hurt, hurt your feelings.
It's going to take a lot more than a bottle of Russian Standard for that to happen.
Oh,
challenge accepted.
And I know better now.
Oh man,
that's an episode I wish you could have seen, Josh. 5,300 feet and Scott trying to host this show, 3 sheets to the wind.
Oh no!
Oh, it was bad.
The only one we've ever pulled the plug on, man. It's like, hey, maybe we'll try this again tomorrow.
So it was. What were you drinking? What's your preferred beverage?
Alcohol.
Anything with alcohol in it.
We are non-discriminatory, sir.
Yeah, I couldn't find my bottle in the shop, so unfortunately, however you frame it, I am actually doing this episode dry. Most episodes, I got a bottle of Macallan in my glass next to me, or beer, or what have you. And yes, I know it's like Saturday morning, but I figure in Pyongyang, what is it? Probably like in the evening out there. So I'm drinking for Pyongyang.
Wow.
5 o'clock somewhere, right?
This particular episode that we had to pull the plug on, he was Red Stripe beer, floated on top with Russian standard vodka. So, and we were at 5,300 feet elevation. So the hitch just kept on coming. Let's put it that way.
It was hilarious.
That's awesome. Whenever I smoke cigars, I typically go with coffee or espresso, but adult beverage of choice is definitely rum. I've been getting more into rum because a lot of the main manufacturers have said what grows together goes together, and having a Fleur de Cana or a Diplomático with a cigar, it's a whole different experience. Or Zacapa, and that's really interesting, where you get the flavor of both of them to come out. I previously was more on the tequila side, actually, like sipping tequila, not. And I'll do a shot here and there. I'm not gonna lie on the podcast here, but in my free time, and there's not a ton of it. I'm actually a partner in a local taco and tequila chain here in the Washington, D.C. area. We have 3 taco and tequila bars in Northern Virginia. So
you have my interests.
Yeah.
We just opened our 3rd one on Thursday. So
wow.
Excited.
Josh, I'm going to get your info from Scott. I'm going to text you a picture of a bottle of rum. We have a friend who's a cigar roller here in the area, Felix Martinez, Dominican. And a couple of years ago, I did a project for him, and he presented me with a bottle of Dominican rum that is not available for purchase here in the States. It was sent to him by a family member from the Dominican, and it is fantastic. So I'll get a picture of that and send it over to you, because I also am a rum guy. I like the Zacapa is one of my go-tos as far as rum and cigars, but this is head and shoulders above Zacapa, in my opinion. And I'll shoot that over to you, so maybe you can acquire a bottle or 2 while you're over there.
Yeah, absolutely. The Fleur de Cana, I think, is my favorite. The 12 and 18 year, and when you're there in Nicaragua, like even the 25 year, it is very inexpensive. But then when you're in the United States, you're like, what did I pay for this? This is crazy. So get it while you're there.
Good times.
Yeah, good advice.
Well, you know about your rum experience. They take it.
Yeah, but that was kind of my own fault. I didn't notice that they didn't put the clear bag and seal it like they were supposed to.
They didn't take our cigars, but they nicked your rum.
Yeah. Yeah, about maybe, what is it, 5-6 years ago?
6 or so, yeah.
Yeah, I had a covert operation, code name Cuban Liberation. So I go out to Jamaica, to a sandals resort, and so my wife likes sparkly, shiny things. So we go over to this mall in Ocho Rios, and they have jewelry, cigars, and all sorts of souvenirs. We go over to the jewelry side, and they custom make some things, and she's going around checking them out, looking at them, and she buys, for lack of a better word, a fuck ton of jewelry. And my ambush Christmas present, a Bell & Ross watch. So the next time we go to Ocho Rios, about a year later, this was Operation Cuban Liberation. The guy, who was there, he sends me a Facebook messenger. I say, hey, I'm coming back to Jamaica. He's like, awesome. Let me know when you're here. I will come pick you up from the resort and bring you over to the shop.
Oh, hold on. What is the financial responsibility for having a guy come and get you from the goddamn resort? How much money did you spend, man? Never mind.
Okay.
I don't want to know.
No, you really did. No,
it was a lot.
Yeah, put it this way.
Obscene amount of money, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
So put it this way. Sue sold her condominium previously.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just going to put it like that.
Right.
So anyway, so
That's why they only got a 25-foot RV.
oh, I got something for you on that one. But anyway, so, we get over there and, she's looking at more jewelry and they have a cigar side and Cubans galore. And of course, they give me money saying, oh, well, if you're going to, get some Cubans. And I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? I got so much alcohol and cigars. I actually had to go to the souvenir side and buy another suitcase.
And we're very grateful for you for that.
Yeah, so I just, I'm packing a suitcase full of Jamaican rum, some custom bottles, and cigar boxes and whatnot. I mean, this thing is filled to the brim. Of course, I have some in my regular baggage too. So we get over to Mobay, and of course, I can't stop. So there's a little cigar place in Mobay that has Cubans, and I was looking for some Partagas Series Ds that my man didn't have. So I got a box of Partagas Series Ds and some other stuff that he had. I think it was some Trinidads. We get to the port of entry over in Atlanta. Oh, and I bought some alcohol, some little tiny, some pints of Overproof and some, I can't remember, Appleton Estates. But what they do, and you're probably familiar with this, is when you buy it, abroad at the airport, they put it in a plastic bag, clear, and they put a tag on it saying, hey, this came from Mobay. You're not transporting, fluids onto the aircraft that are unknown. We get to the port of entry. They put mine in a paper bag. And I'm thinking, or not thinking that, oh, this might be a problem. So I get to security. My suitcase full of Cuban cigars goes through just fine. I go through the security checkpoint. He looks and says, oh, you can't transport this on the plane. What do you mean you can't transport it on the plane? I got it in Mobay. Oh, well, they were supposed to put it in a secure, clear package or whatever. So, you can put it in your baggage. And I'm like, well, my baggage is already checked. So I'm kind of hosed here. So I just look at him and say, well, looks like you guys are having a party tonight. I was furious for like about 30 minutes as my wife's trying to calm me down. We're sitting in the bar having a beer, and I'm just sitting there. Yeah, you can imagine the words I was using.
Was it as furious? Was it as furious as two queens and a pullout?
About 5 times more than that. Oh. Yeah, it was, so, it took my wife just patting my hand, going, it's okay. And then I had to give it some perspective. I just got through with probably about $8,500 in cigars. Let's have some perspective. A few little bottles of rum. Hey, as the mob says, cost of doing business.
It's tough traveling when you're bringing stuff back like that. That's why I usually don't. When I went to Nicaragua, I had the samples from El Politico, and unfortunately, I got stopped in Miami, and these were samples. Like, we don't have a band, we don't have anything, and I had to go to advanced screening and customs, and they were going to. Luckily, the officer was nice. I explained the situation. I showed him my business card. But you can't have unbanded cigars and bring them back.
Really? That's actually good to know, Scott.
So, that's a difficult situation. Then even domestically with TSA, I got so frustrated having lighters confiscated. So actually, this is I'm dropping some knowledge in a resource here. Premiumcigars.org, there's a blog post that basically tells my story of getting stopped in Tampa, having to, basically surrender my lighter, then pay $60 to have it shipped back or shipped to me. And then there was a 4-month wait until I got it back. And then after that, I was so frustrated, I went and I met with the head of TSA and asked him, as a cigar smoker, what can and you cannot bring on a plane. And there's a little more context than what you see on their website from that direct interaction. But ultimately, and unfortunately, it's at the discretion of the individual TSA agents. So
that's no goddamn joke.
yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, we for the past couple of years, we've gone to an event out in Colorado, Rocky Mountain Festival.
I was there this past year. Were you guys there?
Yeah, we were there.
Oh man, we missed each other.
Yeah, we did.
Well,
of course,
we
Larry and I
missed you. You probably
There's
did
no
not
way you
miss
could have missed
us.
us.
Larry and I were kind of like two sheets to the wind later that afternoon. We have some guys we met from Prost Brewery, and you know how they give you that little sample cup to sample alcohol? The guys from Prost were basically taking cans of beer, putting them in a cozy, and handing them to us.
They remembered us from the year before.
Or 2 years before.
Well, yeah.
That's good though. That's a fantastic event. One of the better, consumer events that I went, and this was my first time. I wanted to experience it and sit and, as staff, we're trying to go. We have a limited budget to travel different places. So one of my colleagues will likely be going to Rocky Mountain Cigar this year. I won't, but I'm planning on going to my first big smoke. I have not been to those yet, and it's great though because there's a proliferation of really quality cigar events that some of them are these national ones where everybody knows about them. But I was just talking with Todd Nafee in Oklahoma City. He does Smokelahoma. And then Paul Groh, who's in Milwaukee, who does the Brew City Cigar Festival. And those ones, if you look at the value and the expense, it's like, all right, we can justify this cost. We're going to send someone from our team to interact with folks, to at least one person to those. But I'm impressed by the quality of events that individual retailers are putting together, with limited staff and limited budgets.
Smokelahoma.
Smokelahoma.
These are my people. I'm coming to see you, Okies.
Oh, nice.
Well, if you tell your colleague, if they want to really experience the Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival in a new and exciting way, tell them to hook up with us when they're there this year.
Yeah, but make sure they do some liver preparation. You can't walk into this as a rookie.
No.
Absolutely not.
How much was it? Like maybe 3 cans of the Prost, 2
Then
cans
there's
of
the
Delirium.
Yeah, but in between those, we were
Rocker.
going back and forth the Rocker bourbon.
Oh, yeah.
Whew.
Josh, I don't know if you stopped at one of the venues that was there, but Hogback Distillery, they were a guest on our show 7 episodes ago. That man, Graham, makes some amazing whiskeys.
Yeah, it was hard to get up the next morning.
Yes, it was.
I did part of the tasting tour. Obviously we had a few meetings and that, so I had to keep it a little bit tempered. But I did have 2 or 3 of the the breweries, and then probably 2 or 3 of the liquor as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
That's actually, that Rocky Mountain is one of our favorite events to advocate to the consumer because it's just so much fun.
Yeah, but the problem is you're telling way too many. Well, it's probably not a big deal. I would say you're telling way too many people. But as you know, the Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival, they have a limited number of tickets. So long as, I'm sitting there chomping at the bit, as soon as it opens up, I start buying my ticket. So it's like, well, everybody else, hey, law of the jungle.
Yeah.
And because I am the coolest monkey in the jungle, there you
There
go.
we go.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Josh hasn't seen your cape yet.
Oh, no, he has not. I haven't worn it on the program, but I am wearing my smoking jacket I got for Christmas.
That's nice. I don't have a smoking jacket. I need to get one.
We're considering doing our own line of smoking jackets. Something fabulous but tasteful without being gaudy. I'm not sure how we're going to do the crossover.
Yeah, we'll have for our hunter or alleged hunter, Greg, we'll have the camouflage smoking jacket.
Tinged with blaze orange.
I'm going something of a leopard fringe myself.
And you got to have the gas station badge with your name.
Oh yeah,
on it.
no, and it's going to be upside down.
Oh, there you go. See, we have plans.
There you go.
So Josh is like, all right, I think I'm about done here. Honey, you need me to get something off the top shelf? What? I'll be right there.
Yeah, I did not mention last week that we are a little knuckin' futs.
But that's the fun part of doing all this is, being able to talk to people about something that we enjoy. And Scott and I just did an event on Thursday night through a couple of my customers through my business. Wanted to give back to the law enforcement community and did a invitation only event for law enforcement officers in this area. And it looks like it's going to be a monthly event. And it was just, we went into it, with no expectations of how it was going to play out or anything, but it ended up being just such a cool, casual event, where people just came in and relaxed and, just, we talked a little bit about life, a little bit about cigars, a little bit about everything.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's what I enjoy the most about this vice, if you will, is we get to meet a lot of quality people, whether it's here in the lounge, whether we're out someplace, in public in the area we live, the area we're traveling. If you're smoking, people tend to take notice. And by and large, we get probably 10 times more positive comments, positive interactions than we do negative. Every once in a while you have somebody like, oh God, that stinks, and go somewhere else. But that's the part I enjoy, I think, the most about it is just, getting out there and being able to, associate with other people and talk about, something I like to do.
And you learn about people, people in their lives along the way.
Absolutely.
I totally echo that sentiment.
Yep.
Yeah. And, Cigar Lounge is the great equalizer. You get everybody from all different walks of life, and you can talk about important topics. And then I also like the community aspect of it, where, you can give back to the community through different things. And, if you look at every golf tournament that's out there supporting, scholarships, what have you, cigars are always an integral part of it. And, similar from the law enforcement side of things, my father is a police officer, has been for 25 years. And it was cool because at my lounge, a good friend of mine, who's a cigar manufacturer, Steve Zangel, has the company Los Caídos, which means the fallen. And he has a blue band cigar and a red band cigar, one for fallen police officers, one for fallen firefighters. And Steve, I actually brought his two lines of cigars into my lounge, and we did a special event. We were able to, $1 from every cigar goes to that cause. So, give back, have a good time. And he and I did a fun podcast during that too. So, when you can kind of combine all of those elements, yes, we enjoy the actual cigar, but it's only amplified when you get to enjoy a cigar around good people, sit back, laid back, have a few too many rums with good friends.
Hey, I'd like to get some information from you on that line of cigars, because that's something I think we might be able to get behind and do something with out here too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially in this shop.
Yeah.
Yes. We are very, Beyond the Humidor is a very pro first responder, active and veteran military group, as well as the lounge itself. We have a lot of veterans that come in, and some active folks who pop into the shop. So I think that would be
I
something.
think that would be good.
And of course, our favorite cigar organization, Cigars for Warriors.
Yes. Yeah,
They're
that's
fantastic.
awesome group. We had oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That Storm and his team are fantastic. I always like seeing him at events, and we're actually working with them on the legislative side on a few different fronts, and I think that the mission that they do is really important because and seeing it in Quantico, of people returning from service, and when they're overseas and you can't, you're stationed in the Middle East and you can't have a beer and relax and kick back with your fellow service people. Having a cigar is your only refuge from the craziness.
Absolutely.
Right. All right. I think, this has been a great conversation. Hey, Josh, thank you again for being on the program. This was a long time coming for us. This is a definite feather in our caps.
And a treat, too.
Yes, truly a treat.
So this is something we need to, revisit.
Yes.
Josh, to make sure that not just ourselves, but our listeners are up to speed with what's going on, what they can do to help the cause, so to speak. So if there's something, new, groundbreaking, relevant, important, whatever term, whatever word that you want to put with it, that you want us to get the word out, man, just reach out to us.
Let us know.
And because the more information we have, the more we can get out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will go ahead and send you some of these El Politicos to enjoy. If you want to send me the address, that I should send them to, and we'll get those over. And hopefully you guys will be able to join us in Vegas in July for the show. I mean, it really is the Super Bowl of cigars. I'm
all right.
Can't wait for it.
Oh, that'd be awesome. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, actually, I sent you my home address on the last email.
Perfect. I'll send it over there.
Okay, outstanding.
Good.
Well, this would be the time I'd say my scotch glass is empty, but it's not, because I did this episode dry, but the cigar's to the nub. So I think it's about that time. On behalf of us at Beyond the Humidor, Greg, Larry, and myself, I want to thank you, Josh, for being on the program. And I want to thank our listeners out there for taking the time out to take a listen. Hey, check us out at LumaCigarCartel.com. Like and share us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Don't be a stranger, and let us know you're out there. I'm Scott Robinson, and from all of us here at Beyond the Humidor, we look forward to chatting with you on the next episode. But until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and good smoke, good drink, and good life.